What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I am bringing you a Legacy deck that is centered around Landorus and Mewtwo, and normally when you see Landorus and Mewtwo, you immediately think Lando, Mewtwo, and Garbodor, but this time I'm taking a little bit different route, and I am throwing in a Bouffalant as well. Now, you might have seen me use this in a couple TCG and chill sessions before this, but this is the first time I'm doing an actually deck profile. I is good at English. An actual deck profile on this deck, and I'm actually really excited to do it because it's a very fun deck. It's very straightforward, but there's a lot of little intricacies that make the deck work better if you know what to look for, and it is a very high skill deck in terms of placing the damage from Landorus's Hammerhead in the appropriate places so that you can finish it off with either Bouffalant or Mewtwo. So there's a lot of thinking that goes into this deck, where on the surface it's just like, okay, attach energy and attack, and then like if you go deeper, it's more of, it's a lot more than that. It takes a lot more thinking than that. But anyway, before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you liked this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button, helps us out a ton, and let's do more cool stuff for you guys. And as for the question of the day, frickin' Forbidden Light is coming out tomorrow, and I'm sorry about the frickin', but like I'm really excited for it. I really am. I love when a new set comes out. I always love to open up packs on the day of and try to get a deck out as quickly as I can. And usually it's the day of, and so unfortunately in Ultra Prism I was not able to do a day of deck because my codes were a couple days later than I had ordered them. So I'm trying to bounce back on this one, trying to bring you guys a video the day of with the deck from Ultra Prism. And so my question of the day is, for Forbidden Light, not Ultra Prism. But anyway, my question of the day is, what are you guys doing to prepare for Forbidden Light? Are you guys just stocking up coins in TCGO to try to get as many day of packs as you can? Did you pre-order packs? Did you stockpile packs from other sets just to trade for Forbidden Light stuff? What all have you guys been doing to prepare for the release of Forbidden Light? For me, unfortunately, as you can see, I don't have that many coins to be able to spend on packs. I mean, when I did not have 26 credit hours and was not in med school, I had the time to play quite a bit to stock up my coins. That way I could get like 50 locked packs on the day that it came out. However, like I said, don't have the time to do that anymore. However, I do have a good amount of Guardians Rising that I've saved up from, I think I was trading in a couple rare cards that I had extras of, and so I was able to stockpile a decent amount of Guardians Rising, but I also have a bunch of Forbidden Light coming in. Hopefully the codes will come in on time for this set. So yeah, that's what I'm planning, and that's what I have planned for Forbidden Light. What have you guys got planned? What things have you done to prepare yourself best for the release of it on TCGO? Let me know in the comment section down below. Love to hear what you guys are doing to prepare for it. But anyway, I've talked for way too long. I apologize. But on to the deck. Like I said, it is centered around Landorus, Mewtwo, and Bouffalant. And before... Oh, and also one last thing, huge shout out to Henry. He will be the one that I am playing against in these matches. I love playing against him because he's a very high skill player with a ton of awesome legacy decks, so I'm not just going to be playing the same exact deck over and over with him. And so, I mean, he's a very good player, knows how to use a bunch of different decks, has a bunch of different decks to use, so you get a little bit of variety in terms of the matches that you get. And so, I mean, just, again, huge shout outs to him. I cannot thank him enough for being able to bring quality legacy content, which is ultimately what I strive for with these deck videos. But yeah, finally, on to the deck. Like I said, centered around Lando, Mewtwo, and Bouffalant, and like I said earlier, on the surface, it's a very straightforward deck idea. I mean, you start with Landorus and just start hammerheading away, putting 30 onto the active, hitting the bench for 30, getting extra damage with Hypnotoxic Laser, Virbank, that type of thing, and then you finish up the game or finish up KOs with either Bouffalant or Mewtwo. I mean, it's very straightforward. Like, that's really all there is to it in terms of how to play the deck and how the deck wins games. However, you also have to be careful with where you place the hammerhead damage, because if you just keep like piling it up on 2 Pokemon, all of a sudden you knock those 2 out and you take 4 prizes, but then you have 2 more prizes left to take, and if your opponent has a fresh EX coming up and you're not able to retaliate, then, well, you're not able to take that big Oko, they might just run right through you. So a big reason that this deck is one of my favorites is because you really have to think and plan out where you want to put that hammerhead damage. For me, a lot of it is just put everything in range of Bouffalant's Goldbreaker. I mean, that's pretty much the simplest way to do things. Just hammerhead each EX twice, in some cases only once, if you're very confident that you're able to get either that Silver Bangle or the Hypnotoxic Laser for that little extra damage. So it's just a matter of making sure you hit the right amount, and the right amount is on the board for you to be able to take the prizes with the mon that you want to clean up. So I mean, for this one, I usually talk for a lot longer, but I mean, really, I can talk all I want about this, but you're not going to see how this deck works and what I mean by saying that it's a deck that you really have to plan out. So I'm just going to kind of speed through this a lot quicker than usual. We're going to have 2 Bouffalant, because those are just cleaners, 3 Landorus, because this is what you start with. I mean, this is how you open up the game. You just have a Landorus and you start hammerheading stuff. 2 Mewtwo, because Mewtwo is always a good cleaner for things like Keldeo, where you build up a bunch of damage, that type of, or build up a bunch of energy, and then Keldeo can potentially run through this deck with a bunch of energy. So Mewtwo is just, I mean, it's a great attacker. Just slap a DCE on there and it does at least 40 damage. I mean, that's very, very nice, especially in the Legacy format. And then Computer Search, pretty straightforward. Dual Ball, everything is basic. Hypnotoxic Laser, 3/3 of Hypnotoxic Laser and Virbank, just because that extra 30 is very, very, very necessary in this deck. I know I usually go 3/2, but 3/3 just because you need that extra 20 damage that you can get from having a Virbank in play as opposed to just playing a regular Hypnotoxic Laser. 4 Junk Arms, just because, I mean, again, Junk Arm is the same thing as Computer Search. Basically, it's just you use it to get stuff that you need to reuse. 1 Lost Removal, just to kind of slow down Plasma decks, because those things can be a problem as well. 1 Max Potion, as Landorus usually only has 1 energy on it, so discarding that is not a big deal. Whopping 2 Reversals, because this deck is all about cleaning up the KOs that you set up for yourself. So Reversal allows us to potentially bring up something on the bench that we have hammerheaded and finish it off with Mewtwo or Bouffalant. 2 Random Receiver, so that Junk Arm can turn into a supporter. 1 Super Rod is Recursion, 2 Switch, because our Pokemon are rather fat, and so we don't want to waste a Float Stone on them necessarily. This also gets us out of like sleep and paralysis. 1 Tool Scrapper, just because it really doesn't make that big of a difference. Like, if we don't have our abilities, then cool. I mean, that's not the best because of Bouffalant, but I mean, we really don't care all that much, but still at the same time, like, getting rid of things like Float Stones, what am I trying to say? Float Stones, Silver Bangles, that type of thing that can do extra damage is also very nice as well. For the supporters, 4/4 of Oak and Juniper, and then 2 N, just because, I mean, you really just, you like the shuffle draw. I mean, honestly, I would run more Juniper, but Oak is also good because, you know, shuffle draw, don't have to get rid of resources, and really this deck doesn't rely a whole lot on combos, so you're not just looking for like drawing 2 pieces in your hand. It's just like, okay, I have this card, I'll play that, I have this card, I can play that. So I mean, again, doesn't rely a lot on combos, so Juniper is not a big deal. 1 Skyla just for like that, well, really the Hypnotoxic Laser, the Computer Search, really whatever you need. 2 Eviolites to give ourselves a little extra longevity. 2 Float Stones for free retreat, 1 Silver Bangle to boost our damage output, and then 4 DCE and 8 fighting, just because that's what this deck runs on. So yeah, that is a deck, and let's just go ahead and see it in action. Alrighty, here we are in game 1 against Henry, and so honestly I have no idea what he's running, because I saw the Water, Dragon, and Psychic, and nothing off the top of my head really comes to mind as to what deck he could be. I mean, I'll find out immediately. And unfortunately, we do mulligan, but he does as well. So honestly, not too horrible. And I do start off with Mewtwo DCE and an Oak. which isn't bad at all. I mean, I can definitely get off an X-Ball for at least 40 damage, which, I mean, this deck is all about just racking up little bits of damage here and there for certain KOs, even more if my opponent, if he ends up playing some energy onto his active, and also if I can get Laser Bank. So, oh, okay, so he's running, oh, yep, that makes sense. It's Blastoise Keldeo with the Dragon being Kyurem and the Psychic being Mewtwo, so that makes actually a ton of sense. I mean, that makes complete sense. So, yeah, I don't know why that didn't come to mind immediately. I guess I just haven't... Well, one, I haven't been playing as much Legacy as I would like to, and two, I haven't been running into that type of deck recently. So I start off with actually a very, very good hand. Like I said, I'll be able to DCE up the Mewtwo immediately, and because I have the Hypnotoxic Laser, if I get a Virbank, I'll be able to knock out the Squirtle immediately as well, which, I mean, if I can keep him from getting rid of Blastoise, then that's amazing for me. I mean, that's just going to mean that I'm able to keep him from accelerating energy, and without Blastoise, his deck is not going to be doing much at all. Even if he does rush in with Keldeo, I'll still have the ability to get damage off on that thing, and unfortunately, he ends me. I mean, that's the right play. I mean, it might have been that he didn't have any other supporter, but I mean, playing N is definitely the right play, so that I get down to a hand of 6 instead of a hand of 7. But I draw into some stuff that I can actually really use. So, I mean, he's got the Squirtle down, he's got a Keldeo down, he's probably going to be able to rush in for the Squirtle and get that thing out of the active, or he'll just be able to Ultra Ball for another Squirtle, so that he's not immediately worried about it getting knocked out. So, I mean, he's getting a pretty decent turn one. I mean, he's got the energy, he's got the Squirtle, he's got the Keldeo. So, unless he has... I mean, unless he just drew dead, and he's even going to get the Mewtwo as well. So, I'm going to have to be very careful with my own Mewtwo. He does just end up rushing in, does not attach the energy, which is honestly fine with me. I'm going to go ahead and play down the Bouffalant and then the Landorus. Landorus is not going to be that good in this matchup, just because, I mean, it's weak to water. But early on, I'm going to try to use it in order to be able to spread around damage on Keldeo and Mewtwo in particular, put them in range of Bouffalant and Mewtwo respectively, because Bouffalant will be able to hit for 120, 150 with the Silver Bangle, so I will be able to get those things with a one-hit knockout now that I have the 30 damage on them already. So now Bouffalant can come in later, take them out. Unfortunately, I did not get a Hypnotoxic Laser and a Virbank. That would have been really nice for getting more damage on the board onto the Keldeo. That way, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I definitely would still be able to deal with the Keldeo and the Mewtwo, but I guess just having that little extra damage, that way I don't have to have the Silver Bangle, or I just am able to X-Ball or something like that. I mean, just the extra damage would always be nice. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is play down the Virbank, and I'm not going to Junk Arm. I'm going to save my Junk Arms because I already unfortunately had to Juniper away one of them. I'm just going to Oak. Do not draw into an energy, unfortunately, but what I do draw into is something that I can really use. So I'm going to go ahead and Hypnotoxic Laser up this Keldeo. Yes, I know that he has a Keldeo of his own on the bench that he can just rush in and, well, he can just double rush in to basically reset. But that extra 30 damage, I feel like, well, with the poison, if I can just slowly chip down that Keldeo, I might be able to eventually hammerhead that thing for a knockout. So that's kind of what I'm going for. I've got the damage on the Mewtwo I need for just X-Ball into a X-Ball will knock him out. Like, just having a DCE to power up my Mewtwo will knock out his Mewtwo with 2 energy on it. That way, both of our minimally powered up Mewtwo's, I will be able to take the Oko on his. He will not be able to take the Oko on mine unless he plays more energy. He does end me, which is great. I get an energy and a Silver Bangle, and he draws into his Tool Scrapper early. So yes, this does get rid of my Float Stone and my Eviolite, but one, he doesn't have a Blastoise up yet. That is great for me. And two, this means that if he's going to Junk Arm later, he has, well, if he's going to get rid of my Silver Bangle off of my Bouffalant, he's going to have to Junk Arm to get that thing, and that means that that's one Junk Arm that I won't have to worry about later. I'm going to go ahead and Juniper away my hand, just because, I mean, there's stuff I could go for, and honestly, I'm kind of regretting not putting the 30 damage on the War Turtle last turn, because with this, if I hit my Pokemon Reversal, I could have knocked that thing out this turn with a Hammerhead plus Poison. So I'm regretting that a little bit, but I don't. But at the same time, I'm not, because getting damage, like taking out 2 Keldeos and Mewtwo will straight up win me the game. Like, I don't have to focus down the Blastoise, because if I get enough damage, then a Bouffalant and 2 Mewtwo's should be able to get me the knockouts that I need. So what I can do now, let's go ahead and Junk Arm. Get rid of the Skyla and the Landorus to grab a Hypnotoxic Laser. It's great that I've only used 1 so far. That way I can save those for late game if I need just a little bit of extra damage. Let's get that onto Keldeo. And then Hammerhead, yes, I know he's going to be able to double rush in once again in order to reset everything. But I'm just going to keep targeting down that Keldeo on the bench. That way I can knock it out with potentially just a Hammerhead later, if that's what I ultimately decide to do, like just a Hammerhead into Poison. So he is going to rush in, but now both of his Keldeos are very low. This one only has 50 HP. The one on the bench only has 80 HP. So they're getting very low. And Mewtwo also is in range of Bouffalant. I will probably want to try to target down that Mewtwo for one more Hammerhead so that it's in range of Bouffalant with or without the Silver Bangle. So that might be what I try to go for. Unfortunately, he does get the Blastoise up, and this means curtains for my Landorus. But what is nice is that I do have Mewtwo immediately on the bench, and anything that is on my bench, as long as I draw a DCE, will be able to knock out this Keldeo. So what I'm going to do, promote the Bouffalant, force him into an odd prize game, because he can't afford to not knock out this Bouffalant at this point, just because. Okay, so I could play my energy now. Nah, I'm just going to go ahead and Juniper, because there's really nothing that I need, and I needed to make sure that I drew into a DCE. But at this point, he can't afford to not knock out Bouffalant, just because it's able to one-shot all of his EXs at this point. Like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and go for the Gold Breaker, knock out the Keldeo, take a couple prizes. But this also, like I was saying about the odd prize game, forces him to take a knockout on a non-EX. So it forces him to take 4 knockouts in order to win this game, whereas I only need 3 to win the game. Because, I mean, I'll just be knocking out 3 EXs, and that will allow me to win the game. Whereas he has to take out 3 EXs as well as the Bouffalant, just because of the timing and the positioning that I put my Bouffalant in. So yeah, he's going to get the energies back into his hand, going to be able to either power up Keldeo or Mewtwo to knock out this Bouffalant. But what this does mean is all I need is a DCE, and I have 3 DCEs left in a deck of 17. I should be okay to win this game, because all I need to do, honestly, I just need 2 more DCEs to win me the game, because if he puts enough energy on this Mewtwo to knock out Bouffalant, that means that my Mewtwo is guaranteed to knock it out as well. So, I mean, then if he responds with Keldeo with a knockout on my Mewtwo, then my Mewtwo just comes in. He'll still be at 1 prize while I will take my last 2 off of his Keldeo. So I am in a very beneficial prize trade situation. He will be able to, well, he gets another Blastoise, and he does have another Keldeo. That could be problematic. But actually, no, it's really not. I don't think so. He needs 1 more energy. Or does he have the knockout on me? Yeah, he does. Okay. But while the extra Keldeo could be somewhat problematic, he'll have to attach a bunch of energy onto that Keldeo to knock out my Mewtwo. And even if he does, yeah, he'll have to attach a bunch of energy in order to one-shot my Mewtwo, in which case my other Mewtwo will just be able to come in and immediately revenge kill the Keldeo. So I'm still in a great spot. Just going to go ahead and Juniper, just maximize my chances of drawing that DCE, and I do draw into it. This is great. So let's actually Eviolite up my Mewtwo, force him to play even more energy if he wants to knock out this active Mewtwo, whether it's with his Mewtwo or his Keldeo. But I mean, at this point, once his Mewtwo has 2 energy on it, my Mewtwo is going to be able to knock it out with a DCE. And then the Keldeo, with that little bit of extra energy that I'm forcing it to have on it in order to knock out my Mewtwo, I think my other Mewtwo should be able to just attach a DCE, and then even, I think with the Hypnotoxic Laser, I would guarantee to have the knockout. So he's going to promote his Mewtwo. I mean, it doesn't make a difference. He has Russian Keldeo, so it's really just a matter of what he decides to go for. I think his play is to boost up that Keldeo on the bench and then pray that I don't draw into my DCE. I think that has to be his play. Well, he has to end me, because if he doesn't get me out of this hand, then I win just because I have the computer search. I can computer search for the DCE, and that's going to be game. So he has to end me and power up his Keldeo in order to be able to one-shot my Mewtwo. Otherwise, that's just not going to work for him. So he has to end himself as well. That means he's going to be down to 3. So it's going to be, if he ends me, can he draw the perfect cards that he needs in order to get a knockout on my Mewtwo? And do I not draw into my way of getting a DCE? Because if that happens as well, then I will lose the game. But unfortunately for him, he does just go ahead and Oak's New Theory. I mean, he probably didn't have the N in his hand. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure he would have played it, considering Keldeo... Well, considering that's his best chance to win. And he is just going to go ahead and grab another Superior Energy Retrieval. So he's going to have enough energy to knock out my Mewtwo. But because he did not end me, I have the computer search in my hand. I'm going to be able to get my last DCE, which will allow me to knock out his Keldeo, and that will be the game. So that's actually... I'm thinking that's how it's going to play out. I mean, unless there's something random he has. Unless he... with an Eviolite... With an Eviolite it might, but no, I have the laser and the Virbank, so I'll still be okay. No matter how many energy... Okay, so I think he's just going to go for a bunch of overkill right now. He needed the 7 to knock me out, and then the 8. And yeah, he's just loading up the Keldeo with as much energy as possible. Going to go right into that, and I think he was good after the 7th. Let's see how much damage this did. 210. Yeah, he was good after the 7th. But, I mean, again, all that would take from me is the DCE, which I will be able to get with the computer search, get rid of my Max Potion and my Virbank in order to grab that DCE. And, oh, I'm sorry. Breaking his heart right there by being able to grab that DCE attached to my Mewtwo and then just win the game with X-Ball. So that was actually a pretty phenomenal game. I mean, it legitimately came down to just one prize, but I was on the fortunate end of that prize trade. I mean, that just shows the power of Mewtwo. If your opponent powers up one thing too much, Mewtwo's just going to be able to run through it. And then Bouffalant, even though it got off one attack, it more than earned its spot in the deck, just because the fact that it was a single prize Mon made such a big difference. Well, I mean, it made the difference between winning and losing, because if Bouffalant had been 2 prizes, I would have lost, because he would have been able to take his last prize before I took mine. So that was a very, very good game 1 that came down right to the wire. Let's go ahead and hop into another one. Alrighty, here we are in the second game against Henry, and this time I, again, have no idea what he's running. I mean, Fire Dragon and Grass? Yeah, legitimately no clue. Sends a heart over my way. I think I will do the same, well, after I put my Pokemon into play, but there we go. Just show a little bit of love to my good friend over there, and somebody who is helping me out tremendously, getting really good legacy content against a very good player. And there's Rayquaza. Oh wait, is this just like Ray Eels? Might be Ray Eels. Did we see a lightning? I don't think we saw lightning. But I am going to get a couple Landoruses, Landori, however, I don't know, how do you say it? But let's play a Bouffalant, as this is going to be, I mean, he probably has a Rayquaza EX, let's be real, And wow, I draw into... Honestly, this is kind of sort of a perfect turn because it immediately gets me well, not only a Virbank and a laser, but I get 2 Landorus down. And a Mewtwo with a Float Stone. I have a Computer Search for next turn. Basically, I have everything... Basically, I have everything I want, and going into his turn with the Poison plus the Hammerhead, I will be able to... Poison plus Hammerhead, I will be able to knock out his Rayquaza, so he doesn't play anything... Well, I mean, he plays down 2 Rayquaza EX and 2 Tepig, so I mean, that's not nothing. But what I am going to go ahead and do is Computer Search, I think... Honestly, I think just grab a DCE. I mean, there's really nothing that I need right now. So I'm just going to go with, like, okay, what is the one thing that I could potentially miss this turn, and that's an attachment. And I mean, that being said, I do draw into 2 DCEs. But now I'm just going to go into my Landorus, go for Dual Ball. I whiff it. It's unfortunate, but it's not a big deal. I really wasn't looking for anything. But I am going to be able to Hammerhead, start spreading around damage a little bit. Let's start picking off his Rayquazas, or putting them in range of Bouffalant so that he's forced to deal with that once again. And yeah, he's just going to send up Rayquaza, and I feel like yeah, if I can just spread around damage, if he's holding on to like Rare Candy Emboar, oh, he must not have anything. Oh, that stinks. So he doesn't have anything. I don't have a random receiver, but what I'm going to do, okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and preface this by saying this is a very suboptimal play, but I mean, because this is a fun game, I am playing against a friend, and I really don't just want to like steamroll him while he draws dead. I'm going to make a suboptimal play of Computer Searching for an N just so that he can get a fresh hand so that this can actually turn into a good game. So once again, suboptimal play, but I want this to be a good game. I don't just want to, like, we're challenging each other. There's no, like, versus ladder points or anything on the line. Like, I just want this to be a good game. Send him a heart, let him know what's up, and yeah, so, I mean, okay, with that face, I'm hoping he has a good hand now, so we can actually play the game. But regardless, I am still going to make my best possible plays otherwise, besides, I mean, obviously ending him when he clearly didn't have anything. But now, hopefully this starts to turn into a game. I did essentially get a free turn off of being able, well, off of him not drawing anything, like an extra turn of being able to just Hammerhead and Poison. So now that he's probably going to get some stuff going, this should start to be, honestly, a pretty interesting game, all things considered, because he has, I mean, he has the 2 Tepig down, he has the 2 Rayquaza, and all he needs is just Rare Candy into Emboar. I just realized that this is the second energy explosion based kind of energy explosion based kind of deck that he's running against me. And the first was Water with Blastoise, and now Fire with Emboar and an Inferno Fandango. So this is honestly kind of cool. I'll see how this deck does against both of those. I mean, regardless, well, okay, it actually is perfect because I was saying that Mewtwo just does well, but not against Rayquaza, because Rayquaza and Reshiram, both of their big attacks are focused on discarding energy, not keeping the energy in play. So my Mewtwo's X-Ball is not going to be doing the same type of thing that it was with Keldeo. So I think in this matchup, Landorus is going to be much, much better than, yeah, that Landorus is going to be much better than Mewtwo. I mean, Mewtwo is still freaking Mewtwo. I mean, it's still amazing. But I think Landorus is going to be my way of winning this just by constantly hammerheading and then cleaning up with Bouffalant. I could attach, or continually attach to Landorus to try to get Land's Judgment if I need a big attack, but I think the better play is to try to get multiple Bouffalant powered up in the background while using Landorus just to spread around as much damage as I can. The nice thing is I'm probably going to be able to take another single prize later, and I won't just have to knock out 3 Rayquazas to win the game. Otherwise, he'd be doing to me what I did to him last game, where I'm forcing him to play a 7-prize game. So, but, I mean, considering he played down the Smeargle, you don't play down Smeargle if you're intending for it to just sit on the bench. So Smeargle is probably going to become active as we do see him go ahead and computer search for the Sky Arrow Bridge. I mean, we don't know for sure, but considering he computer searched and then played the Sky Arrow and then is going for the Smeargle, I'm pretty positive that he went ahead and computer searched for the Sky Arrow Bridge. So that's going to allow him to reuse, to use a supporter of mine this turn, just get a second supporter, which will allow him to set up more, maybe get a rare candy into Emboar, but at this point, he's already switched out, or he's already used his retreat at least. So he needs, I think he needs way too much in order to be able to knock out, in order to be able to get an attack off this turn, because what he needs is rare candy, Emboar, a lightning, and either 4 fire energy or 3 fire energy and a Tool Scrapper, which, I mean, I'm going to be honest, I don't think he has, especially because he just level balled for a Tepig, and he does Junk Arm, so he's going to be getting rid of a couple cards. I mean, he's making all the right plays. Like, he's thinning out his deck, increasing the odds that he draws into good stuff. I mean, he's getting rid of fire energy. I mean, he probably has superior energy retrieval, and he also has the execute, so we're in for some double propagation action, it looks like, which, I mean, hey, that's the right play. If you have 2 execute, you turn Junk Arm into a computer search for free. I mean, that's what you do, that's how you do it. So, I mean, that's unfortunately getting a taste of my own medicine when I played Rayquaza Emboar with the double execute, just like, okay, I'm gonna be clicking 50 times at least this turn. So eventually I will be able to make a move, and what I like about this deck is the turns aren't as, well, what I like about my deck anyway, is the turns aren't as long as they are with some of the other decks. I mean, don't get me wrong, I really enjoy playing Rayquaza Emboar, but with this deck, the turns are much shorter, because it's like, okay, attach an energy, play a Hypnotoxic Laser, and then attack, but the implications of your attacks are much bigger than they are with just in like a, oh, I'm just gonna be a big beat stick and knock you out in one hit. So what I'm doing this turn, I'm actually gonna go ahead and laser the Smeargle, not because I want to like rack up a ton of damage. It's just I need that extra little 10 damage in order for super effective Hammerhead to be able to knock it out this turn. And honestly, I think this Eviolite's going to be huge, because with Hammerhead, knock out the Smeargle. I'm going to put a little bit more damage onto his benched Rayquaza, just make sure both of those are in range of Bouffalant. And now Bouffalant potentially has the ability to just clean up. If I'm able to come in, knock out a Rayquaza, and for whatever reason he's not able to attach, yeah, I guess he just needs a 2 energy Dragon Burst. So Bouffalant's not going to be able to clean up the game necessarily, but it will be able to come in and take a knockout on his Rayquaza, and he needs 4 fire energy to be able to knock out my Landorus at this point, at which point I can just send up my own Bouffalant, power up my Mewtwo even more in the background. That way when he does attack later with something else, I can just keep attaching energy to Mewtwo, come in for a big one-hit knockout on something just because I'll have like 5 energy on me. He'll have 1 energy on him. Maybe I can get like a Laser and Virbank, which I know is still in the deck because I had it in my hand last turn. So I need to get rid of this Sky Arrow Bridge to have maximum effectiveness in terms of the poison. Unfortunately, I'm going to be getting rid of an energy, but I think, oh, he didn't quite get the knockout, so that's great for me. I'm going to get a reversal. Do I want to use it? Or is there really no reason to? I think what I'm just going to do is put a DCE onto this clean Mewtwo. So at the very least, I have 3 different attackers. Yeah, and then let's just Juniper away my hand and hopefully draw into Laser Bank. I draw into Laser, but not Bank. And, ooh, I get another Bouffalant, which is great. but it's not the best considering all I have is 1 DCE left. So what I'm going to do here is go ahead and laser. I was trying to go for the potential sleep, that way it leaves him in, and unfortunately there's no Pokemon left in the deck. That is honestly fine with me. I was just kind of cutting my losses at that point, just thinning out my deck, that way I don't draw into Dual Ball later if he ends me, and cannot get the, what am I trying to say? Can't get the extra 30 damage like I would want with Virbank, but you know what? Just getting this Rayquaza closer and closer to being knocked out with Hammerhead is good enough for me. And what really does stink, though, is the fact that his Rayquaza on the bench is not in range of being sniped down by Hammerhead. It's just 10 HP too healthy, so I will need 2 Hammerheads in order to knock it out. Looks like he is just going to go right back into this thing, so I can just knock it out with a Hypnotoxic Laser plus a Hammerhead, which, all things considered, I might actually do, because it allows me to put both of his remaining Rayquazas, because I'm going to be knocking out this active one almost 100%. It allows me to put both of his benched Rayquazas in range of Bouffalant, so that no matter which one he goes into, I will be able to one-shot that thing. And if he was powering up Reshiram, I would be a little bit worried, but because he's going for Rayquaza, that's fine with me. And he's just going to go for a single energy Dragon Burst. That's fine, knocks out my Landorus. But what this allows me to do is actually go into my Mewtwo, because, I mean, hey, free retreat, right? No one is against free retreat. This just gives me more options as to what I want to go into. So I think I'm probably just going to end up going into my Landorus. Let's Float Stone up the non-energied Bouffalant. Super Rod back in... Do I want all 3 energy, or do I want a Landorus as well? Let's go ahead and Super Rod 2 energy and a Landorus, actually. And then Juniper away my hand, just see what else I can get. Hopefully I get a laser, which I do, and I get an Eviolite, which is very, very nice. Let's play that onto... Could play it onto Bouffalant, force him 3, or I could play it onto Landorus and force him to have 4 energy for a Dragon Burst for a knockout. So I think that's actually what I'm going to do. Go ahead and Hypnotoxic Laser that thing, and then a Hammerhead, knock out this active Rayquaza, and put even more damage onto the Rayquaza on the bench so that it is in range of Bouffalant for next turn, and that can potentially win me the game. So now I think that I have... I'm actually not sure what he can do. So he has to not attack with this Rayquaza in order to win. Wait, in order to not lose. Actually, what he can do, if he has... Okay, if he has Catcher or Reversal, he can always bring up my Landorus. Or he can bring up my Bouffalant, knock that out, live another turn. But... Actually, no, because then I can just attach a DCE to another Mewtwo, Junk Arm for a Hypnotoxic Laser, and then just knock him out with Mewtwo plus Poison. So what he needs to do, he needs to end me... Wow, that was loud, sorry. He needs to end me, and he needs to Catcher up my Bouffalant and knock that out, and then I can't draw in to my supporter, but he does end up not having that. I will be able to win the game. He gets the 4 energy Dragon Burst, knocks out my Eviolited Landorus, and what I'm able to do is just go straight into Bouffalant, clean up this game with a Gold Breaker. Might as well play down my last energy, send him a that was close, and a well play. Let him know that it was a very good game that came down to the wire. I have absolutely zero regrets about playing the end to let him back into the game, because ultimately this turned into a really, really good game. So I'm definitely glad that I did that. Good games to Henry in both of those. They were very, very close. I was just able to squeak out with a winner in each of those, but just barely. I mean, if he had an extra turn in both of those games, I think that he definitely would have had me beaten. And in this one, despite the fact that he had virtually 0 turn 1 and turn 2, still ended up making it a great game. But I mean, that's what you get when you're up against a really good player who uses really good decks. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Thank you. Well, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout outs to Henry once again for being an awesome guy and a very good player to give me some great legacy games for you guys. And this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.